$1 million question now is, guys. I want to ask you this one. This is what is going to separate now, like old school versus new school, right? Strict versus modern progressive.
Do you hit
Do
your
you
kid?
beat? Yeah. That because we're not gonna look. Let's be honest. All the older generation that I knew, at least in my circle, the Greek immigrant parent, man, it wasn't even a bad thing.
No, it was not.
They was yeah, it's God blessed. It comes from, they say, what is it? What do they say? It comes from paradise. It's
Yeah.
heaven sent.
Yeah.
Beating your kid is heaven sent.
I've never heard that.
You never heard that?
Never in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an expression in Greek.
Yeah.
So you know that nobody. It's almost normal. It's like that's what we do here. And this is a very Western idea that you shouldn't beat your kid. And I don't mean wait. Let's make a distinction. I don't mean beating your kid, because there's a difference. When you beat your kid just to give a lesson and you still love it and you explain why you did that, is one thing. Beat and become. I don't beat my kid. So just to get out of the way,
You keep saying the word beat.
I never hit, smacked.
Yeah.
I never spanked. I never. Okay, Islami. I've intimidated my son to the point where it's like, look, I'm the boss. Like I flexed my muscle to him, and it's like, whoa, okay, there's another level here. Okay, but I've never spanked my kid. But spanking becomes bad when the person doing the spanking gets pleasure out of it, and that happens.
Yeah,
that's when it's bad.
Well,
but to spank your
not necessarily get pleasure out of it, but it's just to take out his own frustrations because of whatever.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah, it could be that, but that's when it becomes bad.
It's not about the punishment; it's about satisfying themselves.
Exactly. It's like criticism, right? When you criticize because you want to help and you're constructive, that helps somebody. When you criticize because you want to condescend, right? You want to make somebody feel inferior. Well, that's when criticism becomes bad. So I find it's the same thing, but it could be used.
Context.
So wait. Before we go into like we lose ourselves in monologues. Do you guys beat your kids?
No.
I've spanked my kids for sure, man.
Yeah.
I had no choice.
I haven't spanked her. I'm trying to think. Maybe once I tapped her on the butt, but it was nothing.
He tapped her like this.
Like
he tapped.
Like she probably didn't feel it.
Like that. Okay, so what do you guys think? Obviously, there's a lot less people spanking their kids today.
Yeah.
But what do you think of government intervention if that happens? Let's say your parenting style is you want to smack your kids, right? You want to smack them, you want to spank them, you want to discipline them with a little bit of physical abuse, a little bit, right?
The truth is that now it's much more monitored than it was back in the day.
No, but what do you think about that? Do you think that's a good position for the government to have, or they should just stay out of your way?
I don't know, man. It's a tough question because you know what the thing is. Look what happened in Laval a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you saw this. The little girl that they picked up in the house, she was dead, and then suddenly the neighbors like, "Oh man, we should have intervened." That girl, we would always hear yelling. We would always hear like this. We would always imagine an abusive environment. Blah blah blah. We should have done something. They didn't. The poor little girl lost her life. You know what I mean? And all the time, there's a major crisis in Quebec with the DPJ.
Hold on. This every time they hear people yelling, you're going to call the cops to make sure.
But what I'm saying is that, like, Chris is asking, what's that over the top limit where should the government step in? But the thing is this: there's a major issue right now in Quebec with the DPJ, the Direction de la Protection de la Jeunesse, where there's a huge crisis. Like they should have intervened and they didn't, and the kid either ended up dead or in severe trauma or whatever, or they've known that the parents were abusive and they still left the kid. Like there's this huge debate happening right now. There's actually a report being produced. There's a special committee that is overlooking the functionality and the effectiveness of the DPJ. So there is a big issue over here. See, look, we all come, at least I think, I assume we all come from backgrounds where what happens in your house is your business, no one else's. You understand? That's kind of the mentality that we grew up with, right? And today, I don't know, because I've experienced and I've seen these events happening. Maybe the government does have a role to play. Now, where does it have to come in? I don't know, because I kind of feel that what happens in my place is my business. If I wanna discipline my kid the way I want to, but again, I can't compare myself because I know that I don't beat my kids, I don't hurt them. If I want to discipline them or if I yell at them, maybe the neighbor doesn't do that. And it's gonna be like, oh, this guy's abusive, but it's not. You understand?
Yeah, but don't you think we need to separate somebody disciplining their kid and a psycho that just lost his mind?
Yeah, but
Because if you're gonna take 4 examples, let's say you take the 4 exceptions that happen every month. I don't know what the numbers are. I'm just giving you a principle. Let's say we observe 4 to 5 cases every month. We agree that for 8 million, 4 cases a month is not a lot.
negligible.
So you cannot. It's negligible. I feel sorry, and you know what? There's a lot of unfairness and injustice in the world, but making a law, right, to punish people that feel that they should discipline their kids in their own way, maybe it's not the best way to do it. So that's why I'm asking you guys what you think. I don't know where I stand on the topic. In general, I don't like government intervention in people's lives. I believe that people are there to live free lives, and the government should protect people. Yes. Now, to what extent? I don't know. I'm just saying most people that spank their kids because whatever, it's a little spank and then they forget. I know a lot of kids that got spanked when they were young and loved their parents. So there was it was effective in a way, because it didn't turn into hatred. But to what point, like having everybody snitch on you and people calling, I don't know. I don't know where I stand. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, there is an issue, but
look, my initial reflex is stay out of my house. But that's because I know how I am. I know how my wife is, and it's really not an abusive environment, right?
Would you call? Let's say you heard crying. Would you call?
If I heard crying, my neighbor.
Yeah.
You mean just hear a kid cry?
Well, I don't know. Like you hear a kid cry,
Yeah,
but it's a concerning cry. It's one of those where it's at the next level. Like from 1 to 5, this is a level 6. Like they shouldn't be crying this loud. It sounds like they're in agonizing pain, let's say, or they're scared.
I don't know, man, but maybe look, and this is hypothetical. I mean, I don't know how I'd react. It's never happened to me. I think maybe knowing myself, my first reflex would be to go check it out.
Yeah.
If it's my
That's a
neighbor,
good one.
like, okay, is someone in danger? Like, I'd go, I'd knock on the door. I'm like, is everything okay? What are you guys doing? And then if you notice that the guy's beating his wife with a bat, then yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
But
No, it's a tough one, man.
I've knocked on neighbors' doors because there was
Because of
physical
yelling.
altercation. Well, I mean, I walk in, the husband's beating his wife.
no way.
Literally. Yeah, because we had some tenants, and
Yeah.
this was
Yeah,
the
that
reality.
happens, guys. That is
And
still a
I
reality
walked
even today.
in and I intervened, and I gave her the options. You want me to call the cops? It's up to you. But he's not coming in tonight until these kids are happy, because the guy was drunk. It was disaster.
Yeah.
Real disaster.
And another thing, if you read up on it, you'll see that a lot of these women, and I'm not for it, right? So I don't want to be misquoted. I'm not for this, but this kind of behavior, a lot of the women tolerate it. They'll stick with it. They'll tolerate it, and you know what? They either
There's a
because they want
pattern.
to.
There's a pattern that they need to break.
Yeah, either they're thinking falsely that it's their fault and that they deserve it because their self-esteem and their self-worth is very low. Either they're going to take it because they don't want to break the family, or they're going to accept it because this is part of it.
There's a whole history too to the person's
Man is
life,
here,
too.
woman is here, and he's allowed to do that. So
it goes back to the person's history.
No, but see that's something that concerns me a lot, and I think about that a lot. I even told you guys. I even spoke about this last episode when I told you that I want to be very careful with the way that I discipline my kids or that I react when I'm around them, because I want the image they have of a man to be to not be someone that is abusive or violent or that
You want them to accept that.
yells, because then when they grow up and they're in a relationship, I don't want them to think that that is a standard. Yeah, that's normal. That's how it was on my place. I don't want that. I want their first release to be like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't know this. This is foreign to me, and I'm not comfortable with it, right? And that maybe is just the instinct of a protective father that doesn't want his daughters to be in that kind of environment. And I would assume any father would be the same. I mean, if you know that your daughter is like 20, 30 living with someone that is abusive, like it gets me crazy to think of that.